Massive stone blocks fit together so perfectly that not even a blade of paper can slip between them. These ancient megastructures stand as a direct challenge to our modern understanding of engineering. By the end of this journey, you will understand the profound secrets behind constructions that defy logical explanation. How did civilizations without cranes or computers move stones heavier than a space shuttle? What forgotten knowledge allowed them to align entire temples with the stars? The answers reveal a hidden chapter of human ingenuity. Which of these timeless monuments makes you wonder what we have yet to learn from the past? The Great Pyramid of Giza at dawn is a silhouette of impossible scale against the waking sky, a permanent monument to an ambition we can scarcely comprehend. This is the essence of an ancient megastructure, a term reserved for colossal constructions from eras long before modern machinery, built with what we would consider limited technology, yet displaying a mastery of engineering that continues to baffle us today. According to experts like Dr. Emily Carter, these structures achieve a unique fusion of immense size, breathtaking precision, and a durability that has allowed them to outlast entire civilizations. Their defining features are what make them such profound mysteries. It is not merely their physical weight, like the multi-ton stone blocks at Baalbek, that would challenge our strongest cranes. It is also their intellectual heft, the intricate alignments with the sun and stars seen in places like Machu Picchu, proving a deep understanding of astronomy. And then there is the sheer logistical wonder, like the mystery of Stonehenge, where massive blue stones were somehow transported over 250 kilometers across rugged terrain, long before the invention of the wheel. Grasping this foundational definition, understanding that these were projects of unparalleled scale, skill, and spiritual significance, is what transforms our view from simple curiosity to genuine awe. It frames the ultimate question: how did they achieve such perfection with so little? And what does that say about the potential of human ingenuity when pushed to its absolute limits? The Great Pyramid of Giza was a mountain made by human hands, its original height of 146 meters, sheathed in polished white limestone that gleamed under the desert sun. For the pharaoh Khufu, this was not merely a tomb but a machine for eternity, constructed from an almost unimaginable 2.3 million blocks of stone. Each block was a piece of a perfect geometric puzzle, cut and placed with a precision that defies simple explanation. The pyramid's base is nearly a perfect square, and its four sides align with the cardinal directions with an error of less than 1/15 of a degree. As historian Mark Lehner has noted, achieving such an exact alignment to true north would have required sophisticated astronomical knowledge and surveying tools that we do not typically attribute to a society from 4,500 years ago. The logistics of its construction are a mystery that has consumed generations. How were stones weighing as much as 80 tons, the equivalent of a full-grown blue whale, quarried, transported across the Nile, and then lifted into place? The fitting of these colossal blocks is another marvel in itself, with the gaps between many of them being thinner than a credit card, a testament to an almost supernatural level of craftsmanship. Inside, the architecture becomes even more complex. The king's chamber is built entirely from massive granite blocks, housing a solitary sarcophagus carved from a single piece of the same hard stone. The methods used to raise these internal stones hundreds of feet into the air remain one of history's great debates, with theories ranging from immense spiraling ramps that wrap the growing structure to ingenious systems of water-filled counterweights. Even today, the pyramid reveals new secrets, like the recent discovery of a large, hidden void deep within its core, detected by cosmic ray imaging. This empty space, whose purpose is completely unknown, suggests that our understanding of this megastructure is still fundamentally incomplete. How did the ancient Egyptians plan and execute such a project with such breathtaking accuracy, lacking modern mathematics or even the wheel? The answer seems to lie in a forgotten school of practical engineering, a knowledge so profound it allowed them to build not just for a lifetime, but for all time. This pursuit of perfection in stone connects directly to another civilization, where mythology and engineering merged to create a fortress of legend. Far across the sea from the Egyptian desert, on the windy Salisbury Plain in England, another ancient mystery stands in stark silhouette against the sky. Stonehenge is a ring of colossal sarsen stones, some weighing over 25 tons, erected over a period of 1,000 years beginning around 3000 BCE. Its most perplexing feature lies not in the local sarsens, but in the smaller inner circle of bluestones. Geological analysis reveals these distinctive blue-spotted stones were quarried from the Preseli Hills in Wales, a staggering distance of over 250 kilometers away. For a society without the wheel, without draft animals, and without metal tools, the transport of these multi-ton blocks is an almost incomprehensible feat of logistics. As archaeologist Mike Parker Pearson notes, moving these stones implies a society with incredible organization, one capable of mobilizing and sustaining a large labor force for a project that spanned generations. The engineering challenges only began with the journey. Once the stones arrived at the site, the real work started, using only stone hammers, antler picks, and burning fires to thermally shock and fracture the rock. The builders shaped the massive sarsens with astonishing skill. They then dug deep holes, hauled the stones upright, and carefully packed them into position. The most sophisticated element is the outer circle of trilithons, where two vertical stones support a horizontal lintel on top. To lock these lintels in place, the builders employed a technique called mortise and tenon joints, carving a protruding knob, or tenon, on the top of each upright stone that fit perfectly into a hollowed-out socket, or mortise, on the underside of the lintel. This is woodworking joinery, but executed on a monumental scale with stone that weighs as much as a modern truck. This precise construction was not random. The entire monument is perfectly aligned to the movements of the sun. On the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the sun rises directly over the outlying heel stone, casting its rays into the very heart of the stone circle. This has led to intense debate over its purpose, with theories ranging from an ancient astronomical calendar to a sacred ceremonial site for honoring ancestors. To understand the sheer effort involved, modern experiments have tried to replicate the transport. One such attempt required more than 150 people, using only a wooden sledge and log rollers, to drag a single 1-ton bluestone replica. It was a slow, grueling, and dangerous process. What powerful belief or societal need could have driven these ancient people to undertake such a monumental task, moving dozens of stones across mountains, rivers, and valleys? This profound question of moving mountains connects to another civilization, one that carved its temples directly into the living rock of a mountain itself. But the ambition of Stonehenge pales before the sheer physical mass of the stones at Baalbek. In modern-day Lebanon, the ruins of the Roman Temple of Jupiter stand upon a foundation that defies all reason. Its base is constructed from 3 colossal limestone blocks known as the trilithon, each one measuring over 19 meters long, 4 meters high, and weighing an estimated 800 tons. That is the equivalent of 2 fully loaded jumbo jets. A fourth stone left in a nearby quarry is even more staggering. Known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, it weighs in at a barely conceivable 1,000 tons, making it one of the single largest pieces of stone ever cut by human hands. The Roman builders of the 1st century CE were master engineers, but the origins of these foundational megaliths are shrouded in mystery. Some researchers suggest they may be the work of an even older pre-Roman civilization, a theory that only deepens the enigma. As engineer Jean-Pierre Adam has noted, lifting and positioning these blocks would challenge even the most powerful cranes we have today. So how did they do it? The quarry itself offers some clues. The stones were cut directly from the bedrock using channels carved by teams of workers with simple iron tools. Once a block was free, the prevailing theory suggests it was likely moved on a track of wooden rollers, pulled by vast teams of laborers and oxen using an intricate system of ropes and pulleys. Levers and counterweights might have been used for the initial lift onto the rollers, and then for the final, painstaking process of positioning. The precision of the trilithon's fit remains a testament to their skill, with the massive blocks joined together so tightly that the seams are almost invisible. The sheer difficulty of such an endeavor was demonstrated centuries later. In the 19th century, a team with modern steam engines attempted to move the Stone of the Pregnant Woman for a new project. They failed completely, unable to even budge the megalith from its ancient resting place. This failure forces us to ask a profound question: why go to such impossible lengths? Why was a foundation of such overwhelming scale necessary? Some theories point to a need for immense stability in a seismically active region. Others suggest it was a deliberate display of power, a statement of imperial might so grand that it would intimidate any potential challenger. But perhaps there was another reason, one rooted in a knowledge we no longer possess. The quest to understand such overwhelming foundations naturally leads us to wonder about the structures they were meant to support, and to a civilization that seemed to defy gravity itself with its own impossible constructions. High in the Andes, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman presents a puzzle carved in stone. Its zigzagging walls, built by the Inca in the 15th century, are assembled from enormous blocks that fit together like a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. The joints are so impossibly tight that you cannot slide the blade of a knife between them. This was not simple stacking. The stones are polygonal, meaning they have multiple angles and sides, each one uniquely shaped to lock perfectly with its neighbors. Some of these granite blocks are colossal, weighing well over 100 tons, yet they were shaped and placed without the use of iron tools or the wheel. As anthropologist Brian Bauer points out, this incredible precision suggests a deep, intuitive understanding of stone properties and seismic stability. The construction method was both simple and brilliant. Workers used harder stones to pound the granite into shape, patiently pecking and grinding the surfaces over countless hours. They likely tested the fit repeatedly, using sand and water to polish the contact points until the blocks sat flush. This technique created walls that were not just strong but flexible. In a region prone to violent earthquakes, this interlocking design was a stroke of genius. During a tremor, the stones in a rigid, straight wall would be likely to collapse. But the polygonal blocks of Sacsayhuaman can shift and settle, dancing with the Earth's movement before settling back into their original, locked position. The logistics behind its creation are equally staggering. The stones were quarried from sites several miles away. Without beasts of burden or wheeled carts, the Inca would have had to move these multi-ton blocks using log rollers, earthen ramps, and the sheer muscle power of thousands of laborers pulling on ropes made from leather and plant fibers. For the Inca, this was far more than a military stronghold. It was a ceremonial center, a symbol of their imperial power and their sacred connection to the earth. Its defensive strength was proven during the Spanish conquest, when these very walls proved nearly impregnable, forcing the conquistadors to resort to a prolonged siege rather than a direct assault. How did the Inca achieve such seamless joins without blueprints or modern measuring devices? The answer seems to lie in a knowledge passed down through generations, a tactile mastery of stone that we can hardly replicate today. This same level of inexplicable craftsmanship is not only found on mountaintops but also hidden beneath the waves, waiting to be rediscovered. Beneath the waves off the coast of Japan, a sunken mystery challenges everything we think we know about the timeline of human civilization. The Yonaguni monument lies submerged in the Pacific, a massive formation of sandstone that eerily resembles a stepped pyramid, with sharp, geometric terraces, straight walls, and what look like perfectly carved staircases and channels. Discovered by a diver in the 1980s, this structure, if it is a structure, is potentially ancient beyond comprehension, with some estimates placing its origin around 10,000 BCE, a time when humanity was believed to be in the Stone Age, living in nomadic hunter-gatherer societies. The central debate surrounding Yonaguni is a fierce scientific divide. Is this the work of a lost, advanced culture, or simply a stunning quirk of natural geology? Marine geologist Masaki Kimura has spent decades studying the site and firmly believes the evidence points to human hands. He points to the symmetrical angles, the perfect right angles of the terraces, and the presence of what appear to be carved pillars and a distinct turtle-shaped platform as features that nature alone could not create. Further investigations using sonar mapping have revealed the site's true scale, showing a complex of structures that some compare to other ancient, water-logged ruins like Nan Madol in Micronesia. Adding fuel to the debate are accounts from divers who have documented straight, linear grooves on the rock faces that resemble tool marks, suggesting the stone was worked and shaped rather than randomly fractured by ocean currents. Could this be the submerged capital of a civilization forgotten by history, a place that sank beneath the rising seas at the end of the last ice age? The possibility forces us to reconsider the capabilities of our ancient ancestors. This aquatic enigma, where stone forms defy simple explanation, leads us to another profound puzzle, one where the stones themselves seem to possess a property that challenges the very laws of physics. While ancient wonders were built by entire civilizations, one man in 20th century Florida undertook a similar task entirely on his own. Edward Leedskalnin spent 28 years single-handedly carving and constructing what he called the Coral Castle, using over 1,000 tons of oolite limestone. The blocks he moved weighed up to 30 tons each, a feat that should have required modern cranes and heavy machinery. Yet he worked almost exclusively at night, shrouding his methods in complete secrecy. When asked how he managed such impossible work, his answer was as cryptic as it was profound. He claimed he had discovered the secrets of the pyramids. The tools he left behind were pathetically simple, little more than old car parts, chains, and homemade tripods, objects entirely inadequate for the monumental task he completed. This presents a modern mystery that feels almost supernatural. How could one man, standing just 5 feet tall and weighing barely 100 pounds, move stones that today would require powerful hydraulic equipment? The structures he built only deepen the mystery. A 9-ton stone gate, carved as a single piece, was so perfectly balanced on a simple automobile axle that a child could make it pivot with the push of a single finger. This gate rotated flawlessly for decades until it was recently removed for maintenance, and even teams of engineers with modern tools struggled to restore its perfect balance. Other elements of the castle show a deep, almost esoteric knowledge. A 25-ton obelisk points skyward, while a coral telescope is precisely aligned with the North Star. A massive crescent moon sculpture and planets carved from stone suggest an understanding of celestial movements. Lidskjalnin himself wrote pamphlets about his theories of magnetism and the universe, claiming to understand the true laws of weight and leverage. He spoke of seeing the same streams of individual magnets that animate the stars and planets flowing through everything on Earth, and he suggested he had learned to control this flow. This has led to theories that he had somehow rediscovered an ancient principle of anti-gravity or magnetic levitation, using the Earth's own energies to neutralize the immense weight of the stone. Yet despite countless investigations and experiments, no one has ever been able to replicate his solitary achievement using his own simple tools. The coral castle stands as a permanent riddle. Was Edward Lidskjalnin a singular genius who unlocked a forgotten branch of physics, or was he the last practitioner of a building tradition lost to time? His lonely, decades-long labor suggests that the greatest secrets of the ancients may not be lost at all, but simply waiting to be remembered. This idea of hidden knowledge encoded in stone compels us to look upward, to the very stars these ancient builders so carefully studied. The serpent descends from the sky only 2 days each year. At the ancient Mayan city of Chichen Itza, the pyramid known as El Castillo becomes a living celestial clock during the spring and fall equinoxes. As the sun sets, triangular shadows cascade down the northern staircase, merging with stone serpent heads at the base to create the stunning illusion of a massive feathered serpent slithering down from the heavens. This was no accidental effect. Constructed around 800 CE, El Castillo is a masterwork of astronomical engineering, a pyramid designed with mathematical precision to mirror the cosmos itself. The structure is a physical calendar. Each of its 4 sides has 91 steps, which, when added together, total 364. The single platform at the top represents the 365th day, completing a perfect solar year. This integration of cosmology into stone, as archaeologist Linda Scheel noted, was fundamental to the Mayan worldview. Their entire civilization was built around observing and honoring the cycles of the sky. This celestial alignment extends beyond the sun. The acoustics of the pyramid are equally engineered. A hand clap at the base of the main staircase produces an echo that perfectly mimics the chirp of the Quetzal bird, a sacred animal deeply connected to their deities. The precision does not stop with El Castillo. Just to the north stands the Caracol, a round tower that functioned as a sophisticated observatory. Its narrow slit windows are precisely aligned with the extreme rising and setting points of the planet Venus, which the Maya tracked with an accuracy that would not be matched in Europe for centuries. Their architectural ingenuity is also visible in their use of the corbelled arch, where each successive layer of stone projects slightly inward until the gap is bridged at the top, creating the sturdy, vaulted ceilings that allowed their temples to endure. Modern surveys using laser scanning technology have confirmed the incredible accuracy of these alignments, with some calculated to within mere minutes of a degree. How did a civilization without telescopes or modern mathematics achieve such detailed celestial mapping? The answer lies in generations of patient, meticulous observation, a legacy of knowledge encoded not in books but in the very orientation of their monuments. This profound connection to cosmic forces suggests a harmony with nature's rhythms that we are only beginning to comprehend. A synergy that leads us to consider whether other ancient builders learned to harness the Earth's own hidden energies. Deep beneath the modern streets of Malta lies a world of echoing silence. The Saflieni Hypogeum is a sprawling, three-level labyrinth carved entirely by hand from solid limestone, a subterranean temple of the dead dating back over 6,000 years. Its chambers and halls descend into the earth, a place of profound quiet that holds an astonishing secret. Here, sound does not simply fade away, it transforms. Human voices are amplified and sustained, creating resonant frequencies that seem to vibrate through the very stone. According to acoustic engineer Trevor Cox, the resonance frequencies found in the Hypogeum's key chambers perfectly match the lower range of the male human voice, a compelling clue that this was not an accident of geology, but a feature of intentional design. The builders appear to have carefully shaped the curved walls and domed ceilings to capture and enhance specific tones. In one chamber, known as the Oracle Room, a deep voice spoken into a small niche can be heard throughout the entire complex, the sound echoing with an otherworldly quality that feels both eerie and powerful. This acoustic mastery suggests the Hypogeum was far more than a resting place. It was a sensory instrument. Researchers have conducted experiments with chanting and rhythmic drumming, finding that the resulting vibrations are not just audible, they are physically felt throughout the body, potentially inducing altered states of consciousness. This leads to a profound question: why would a Neolithic culture, using only stone tools, dedicate such immense effort to perfecting the acoustics of an underground sanctuary? The answer may lie in ritual and ceremony, where sound was a bridge to the spiritual world, a tool for communal experience and perhaps even healing. The focus on creating harmony through architecture, on building spaces that resonate with both sound and spirit, connects directly to a culture that sought to capture the music of the universe in stone. The Parthenon stands as a serene white crown upon the Athenian Acropolis, a symbol of classical perfection that is, in fact, a masterpiece of calculated deception. To the human eye, its lines appear flawlessly straight and its columns stand in perfect parallel. The truth is far more ingenious. Every single line in the building is a subtle curve, and every column swells with a gentle bulge. This was the work of the sculptor Phidias and his architects, who understood something profound about human perception. They knew that truly straight lines would actually appear to sag to a viewer looking up from below. So they built curves into the very fabric of the temple to create the illusion of perfect straightness. This technique is called intosses, a slight convex taper in the columns that makes them look strong and vibrant rather than stiff and static. The entire platform of the temple also curves upward in the middle, so that rainwater would run off and, more importantly, so the building would feel grounded and solid, not as if it were floating away. The stone used was Pentelic marble, quarried from nearby Mount Pentelicus, and it was cut and shaped using bronze tools, a painstaking process that required an artist's touch. But the genius of the Parthenon goes beyond these visual tricks. Its proportions are governed by the golden ratio, a mathematical relationship of approximately 1 to 1.618, a pattern found throughout nature in the spirals of seashells and the arrangement of flower petals. As the architectural historian Vincent Scully observed, the Parthenon's proportions create a sense of harmony that feels inherently right, as if the building itself is in tune with a fundamental law of the universe. This harmony is told in stone on the building's famous frieze, which depicts the Panathenaic procession, a grand parade of citizens and deities that wrapped around the entire temple, bringing its mythology to life. Modern restoration projects have revealed even more of its secrets, such as the intricate bronze clamps, sealed with molten lead, that lock the marble blocks together with incredible strength. These clamps were hidden from view, proving that the beauty was not just skin deep. The true testament to its advanced engineering comes when modern architects try to replicate it. A recent case study showed that even with advanced three-dimensional modeling software, recreating the Parthenon's subtle curves and precise asymmetries is a monumental challenge. How did the Greeks, with their simple tools, achieve such aesthetic and structural perfection? The answer lies in a philosophy where art and science were one, where a temple was not just a building but a living sculpture designed to elevate the human spirit. This relentless pursuit of ideal form, however, stands in stark contrast to the brutal pragmatism of another kind of ancient megastructure, one built not for beauty but for pure, unyielding defense. The walls of Constantinople were a declaration in stone and mortar, a promise of absolute security that shielded an empire for more than a millennium. Rising in the 5th century CE under Emperor Theodosius II, these formidable land defenses were not a single barrier but a layered system of death, a masterpiece of military foresight. As historian John Haldon explains, their incredible depth and towering height made any direct frontal assault a virtual suicide mission for an attacking army. The design was brutally effective. First, an attacker would face a wide, deep moat that could be flooded with water. Beyond that stood a low outer wall, a first line of defense for infantry. Then, after a killing ground, rose the massive inner wall, soaring 12 meters high and 5 meters thick, studded with nearly 100 towering watchtowers. This multi-layered approach meant that even if an enemy breached the outer defenses, they would be trapped in a deadly courtyard, exposed to arrows and Greek fire from the higher inner walls on all sides. The materials themselves were chosen for resilience, a clever combination of sturdy limestone blocks and courses of brick, which gave the structure flexibility to withstand the relentless pounding of siege engines and the region's frequent earthquakes. The gates were strategic masterpieces in their own right. The Golden Gate, a triumphal arch of white marble, served as the ceremonial entrance, its imposing presence meant to awe visitors and demonstrate the empire's unshakable power. But the true secret to the wall's longevity was not just their physical mass, it was the terrifying technology deployed from their heights. Greek fire, a closely guarded state secret, was a liquid incendiary weapon that could be sprayed from siphons or launched in pots. It burned on water and was nearly impossible to extinguish, creating a hellish inferno that consumed entire fleets and siege towers. This was proven during the Great Arab Siege of 717 CE, when a massive force surrounded the city by land and sea. The Theodosian walls held firm against every assault, while the Byzantine navy used Greek fire to destroy the invading fleet, ultimately breaking the siege and saving the empire. What made these defenses so uniquely resilient was this perfect synergy of immense, intelligent architecture and revolutionary chemical warfare. They were a system designed to counter every known method of attack, a testament to an engineering philosophy that prioritized enduring strength above all else. This relentless focus on durability against overwhelming force makes us wonder how other civilizations engineered their own structures to withstand the slow, patient assault of time itself. The legacy of Roman engineering flows not through stone but through water itself. The Pont du Gard in southern France stands as a breathtaking example, a three-tiered arcade of golden stone that strides across a river valley. Built in the 1st century CE, this aqueduct was just one part of a vast network that channeled water over 50 kilometers, relying on nothing but gravity to deliver a constant stream to the bustling city of Nimes. The Roman water commissioner Frontinus once declared the aqueducts to be a testament to Roman grandeur, and he was not exaggerating. These were not merely functional pipes, they were monuments to a civilization's ability to tame nature for the public good. The central challenge was maintaining a precise, gentle slope for the entire length of the channel, often just a few centimeters of drop for every 100 meters of distance. To achieve this over hills and valleys required revolutionary tools and materials. Surveyors used an instrument called a chorobates, a long water level on a wooden frame, to measure these minute gradients with astonishing accuracy. When the path encountered a deep gorge, they built soaring arch bridges like the Pont du Gard. When it met a mountain, they tunneled straight through, carving access shafts for workers and future maintenance crews. The secret to their durability was a special concrete they developed, made with a volcanic ash called pozzolanic. This miraculous material not only hardened into a rock-like mass, it could actually set underwater, allowing them to build foundations in rivers and create waterproof channels. The impact on urban life was transformative. This reliable supply fed public fountains, lush bathhouses, and even private homes, drastically improving sanitation and public health. The system was so well built that some never stopped working. The Aqua Virgo, an aqueduct completed in 19 BCE, still supplies water to the famous Trevi fountain in Rome today. How did they maintain such unwavering precision across such vast and rugged landscapes? The answer lies in a society that viewed infrastructure as a sacred duty, a gift to its citizens that would flow for centuries. This mastery of channeling water to a single, vital point finds a strange and beautiful echo in a city built not on land, but across a lagoon. Out in the vast Pacific, a city of black stone rises directly from a coral reef. Nan Madol, a labyrinth of over 100 artificial islets built around 1200 CE, is a Venice carved from basalt. Its foundations and walls are constructed from colossal prismatic logs of stone, stacked horizontally like a giant's log cabin, with some individual stones weighing an incredible 50 tons. Just getting these stones to the site was a Herculean task. The basalt columns were quarried from the other side of the island of Pohnpei, meaning they had to be transported across many kilometers of dense jungle and then through open ocean. As archaeologist Rufino Mauricio points out, the logistics of this operation are truly mind-boggling for a society without metal tools. The prevailing theory suggests the builders used a combination of bamboo rafts and ropes made from coconut fiber, carefully floating the massive stones through the intricate network of canals they were creating. Yet, local legend offers a different, more mystical explanation, speaking of two powerful brothers who used magic to levitate the stones through the air and command them into place. This blend of practical engineering and ancient mythology only deepens the site's mystery. The most sacred area of the city is the mortuary sector, with towering walls that enclose the tombs of the Sordelur dynasty. These royal resting places were constructed with even larger stones, suggesting their spiritual significance demanded the greatest possible effort. The entire city is also perfectly attuned to its environment, with its canals and islets aligned to harness the natural tidal flows for transport, sanitation, and perhaps even cooling. To test the feasibility of these methods, a modern experiment was conducted. It required hundreds of people working in unison, using only traditional materials, just to move a single, much smaller basalt column a short distance. The attempt highlighted the immense coordination and communal will that must have been the true engine behind Nan Madol's construction. So why commit to such an audacious project, building an entire administrative and ceremonial capital on top of a reef? The answer may lie in both power and protection. A city on the water is inherently defensible, and its very existence would have been a stunning display of control over both nature and people. This ambition to carve a civilization from the most unlikely of places finds a parallel in structures that were not built upon the earth, but carved directly into it. A mountain was turned inside out. At the Ellora Caves in India, the Kailasa Temple is not a structure that was built up, but one that was painstakingly carved down, excavated from a single, massive cliff of volcanic basalt over a period of decades in the 8th century. This is the ultimate expression of subtractive architecture, where the final form was visualized entirely within the living rock, and everything else was removed. The scale is almost incomprehensible. Art historian Carmel Berkson notes that the creation of this monolithic complex required the removal of 200,000 tons of stone, a volume that would cover twice the area of the Parthenon in Athens. The entire temple complex, with its multi-story towers, intricate pillars, and grand courtyards, was all sculpted from the top down. Imagine the audacity of that plan. Workers would have begun at the cliff's summit, marking out the future peaks of the temple's main tower, and then started the grueling process of carving downward, story by story, like unpeeling a colossal statue from a block of stone. They used nothing more than hammers, chisels, and an unimaginable amount of patience. Every strike had to be precise. A single miscalculation, one cut made too deep, could compromise an entire pillar or cause a section of the ceiling to collapse. The planners had to hold the complete, three-dimensional vision of the finished temple in their minds, a flawless blueprint that existed only in their collective imagination before a single piece of rock was ever struck. The result is a sanctuary dedicated to the god Shiva, a breathtaking labyrinth of galleries and halls adorned with some of the most finely detailed relief sculptures in the world. These panels are not mere decorations, they are entire epic myths carved into the walls, depicting scenes from sacred texts with a fluidity and grace that make the stone seem soft as cloth. But the engineering genius extends beyond the artistic. The builders even carved functional drainage channels into the rock to divert monsoon rains, protecting their masterpiece from water damage for over 1,000 years. The sheer verticality of the excavation would present a formidable challenge to modern engineers, even with scaffolding and power tools. How did these master sculptors work with such confidence, removing immense weight from above while knowing exactly what delicate form remained below? This profound act of revealing a temple from within a mountain stands in stark contrast to the next chapter of our story, where a civilization achieved the impossible not by carving down, but by building up with blocks so large they seemed to belong to the realm of giants. The Great Wall of China does not simply cross the landscape, it becomes part of it, a stone serpent coiling over sharp mountain ridges and dissolving into the haze of distant deserts. This was not a single project but a collective ambition stretched across centuries, beginning as early as the 7th century BCE, with its most famous stone sections emerging under the Ming dynasty. Historian William Lindesay emphasizes that the wall's true genius lies in its profound adaptability, its construction meticulously tailored to the brutal realities of each unique terrain it conquered. In the western deserts, builders used layers of rammed earth, compacted with wooden tools into a dense, durable barrier. As the wall snaked into the rugged mountains near Beijing, they switched to quarried stone blocks and bricks, creating the formidable image we recognize today. The mortar that binds these bricks holds a remarkable secret, a formula of slaked lime mixed with sticky rice flour. This ingenious culinary addition created a composite so strong and weather-resistant that it has helped the masonry endure for more than 500 years. Every aspect of the wall's design served a defensive purpose. The walkway was built with a gentle slope to allow soldiers to move quickly to threatened areas, while the parapets on the outer side are lower, providing archers with a clear firing line while offering some protection. Watchtowers were spaced within sight of each other, allowing messages to be relayed across vast distances using smoke or flags in a matter of hours. The labor to build this megastructure was drawn from a vast pool of conscripted soldiers, peasants, and even prisoners, a massive human effort that spanned generations. Beyond its military role, the wall also functioned as an elevated customs corridor, protecting and regulating the lucrative Silk Road trade. Caravans passing through its gates were taxed and monitored, making the wall not just a barrier but a vital artery of economic control. How did successive dynasties coordinate such a monumental undertaking across such an immense span of time and space? The answer lies in a sophisticated system of provincial administration and a unified cultural will to define and defend a civilization. This unparalleled achievement of coordinated human effort makes the solitary, enigmatic work of our next builder seem all the more astonishing. On a remote speck of land in the vast Pacific, giant stone faces gaze inland with silent, eternal watchfulness. These are the Moai of Easter Island, over 900 statues carved from compressed volcanic ash between the years 1400 and 1650 CE. The scale of their creation is staggering. The average Moai stands over 4 meters tall and weighs around 14 tons, but the largest one ever erected, named Paro, towered nearly 10 meters and weighed a formidable 82 tons. These were not just rocks, they were sacred vessels. Archaeologist Joanne van Tilburg explains that the Moai represent deified ancestors, believed to hold spiritual power or mana for the living community. They were placed on massive stone platforms called ahu, which served as ceremonial centers facing the island's villages. The entire process, from quarry to platform, was a monumental undertaking that pushed a small, isolated society to its absolute limits. The Moai were born in the quarry of Rono Raraku, a volcanic crater where craftsmen used hand-held basalt picks to painstakingly carve the figures directly from the cliff face. Once a statue was freed, the real challenge began, moving it across miles of rugged terrain. The most compelling theory, supported by local oral tradition and experimental archaeology, suggests the islanders used a technique that made the statues appear to walk. Teams of workers would secure ropes around the Moai's head and base, rocking it carefully from side to side, edging it forward with each rhythmic pull. This method, demonstrated in modern experiments, shows that a surprisingly small team could maneuver a multi-ton replica in an upright position across the landscape. Other theories propose the use of wooden sledges or log rollers, moving the statues horizontally along paths that may have been lubricated with a paste of mashed sweet potatoes to reduce friction. The final act of engineering was raising the Moai onto its ahu platform, likely using a system of levers and ramps to inch the colossal figure into its permanent, upright position. Later, many Moai were crowned with a separate, cylindrical topknot or pukao, carved from red scoria stone, some weighing as much as 12 tons. The cultural drive behind this immense effort is clear, but it may have also contributed to a profound societal change. The construction required enormous quantities of timber for ropes and sledges, and many researchers suggest that the gradual clearing of the island's forests led to severe environmental hardship. This scarcity of vital resources, coupled with other social pressures, likely played a role in the decline of the Moai carving tradition. What profound belief could compel a people to transform their entire island into a gallery of giants, risking their very survival in the process? The answer lies in a spiritual connection to the land and lineage so powerful it moved literal mountains. This intense relationship between a civilization and its environment, and the structures built to defy time itself, finds a parallel in a city that mastered the art of living with water. While our modern concrete crumbles in saltwater within decades, the Roman harbor of Portus tells a different story. Its breakwaters, submerged in the Mediterranean for 2,000 years, are not just surviving, they are thriving, growing stronger with each passing century. This is the magic of Roman concrete, a material science wonder developed around 200 BCE that we have never truly been able to replicate. According to materials scientist Marie Jackson, the secret lies in its unique chemistry, which actually allows it to heal its own cracks when exposed to seawater. The recipe was deceptively simple: a mix of lime, volcanic ash known as pozzolana, and chunks of rock as aggregate. This combination was poured into massive wooden forms to create the piers and harbors that became the backbone of the Roman Empire. The chemical process is where the genius lies. When seawater seeps into the concrete, it reacts with the lime and pozzolana to form new, interlocking crystals that fill any developing fissures. It is a material that repairs itself, a living stone that grows more resilient with age. The ultimate testament to its strength is not underwater, but in Rome itself, in the breathtaking dome of the Parthenon. This structure remains the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome, a perfect hemisphere that has endured for nearly 2,000 years. Modern engineers still struggle to explain how such a vast span of concrete, with a single, central oculus open to the elements, has withstood the test of time and seismic activity without any steel reinforcement. The answer is in the recipe and the technique. The Romans used progressively lighter aggregates as they built higher, mixing in porous pumice at the top to reduce the immense weight and stress on the walls below. Recent scientific studies have involved drilling core samples from ancient maritime structures like the port of Caesarea. These cores reveal a complex, crystalline structure inside the old concrete, a stark contrast to the deteriorating, layered look of modern samples. Researchers like Jackson have worked to recreate the exact formula, achieving some success, but the full, practical application of this ancient knowledge remains just out of reach. How did Roman builders without modern chemistry discover this perfect, self-healing mixture? It was likely a process of long observation and local experimentation, using the volcanic materials readily available to them. This mastery of Earth itself, of transforming humble ingredients into eternal structures, connects to a different kind of earthwork, one that reshaped entire landscapes for a purpose both sacred and practical. A colossal serpent slumbers across the Ohio landscape, a sinuous earthwork over 1,300 feet long. This is the Serpent Mound, an effigy mound crafted by indigenous peoples around 1070 CE, not from stone but from the earth itself. Its body gracefully curves along a high plateau, a monumental sculpture visible only in full from the sky above. The precision of its form is its first great mystery. To build it, its creators moved countless tons of soil and clay using only woven baskets, stone tools, and human labor, meticulously piling the earth to maintain the serpent's elegant curves as they rose and fell over the natural hills. This was not a random shape but a deliberate cosmic design. The serpent's head aligns perfectly with the setting sun of the summer solstice, while its coiled tail may chart the more subtle cycles of the moon. As anthropologist William Romaine suggests, this likely served as both a sophisticated calendar and a profound ceremonial site, a physical representation of a world deeply connected to the heavens. The builders encoded their understanding of celestial patterns directly into the land, turning the earth itself into a clock and a temple. Modern preservation efforts continuously battle natural erosion, a testament to the enduring desire to protect this sacred site. Why pour such immense communal effort into creating art on this scale? The answer lies in the power of cultural expression, in a need to inscribe a people's deepest beliefs onto the very skin of the world. This ancient impulse to create pathways of meaning, even ones that twist and turn, leads us to another form of earth-bound mystery, the labyrinth. the corridors of the Palace of Knossos twist into the very heart of a legend. This was not just a royal residence but an immense multi-story complex sprawling over 20,000 square meters, a city within a building that rose on Crete around 2000 BCE. Its layout was so intricate, with corridors leading to sudden courtyards and rooms opening onto unexpected staircases, that it is easy to see how the later Greek myth of the labyrinth, a maze built to contain the monstrous Minotaur, was born here. The archaeologist Arthur Evans, who excavated the site, saw it as a revelation of a society with sophisticated architectural knowledge, a civilization that valued both beauty and brilliant functionality. The engineering begins with the walls themselves, constructed from precisely cut ashlar blocks of gypsum and limestone, fitted together to create sturdy, smooth surfaces that were often adorned with vibrant frescoes depicting leaping dolphins and graceful court figures. But the true genius of Knossos lay in its hidden veins, the advanced systems that made this palace a marvel of comfort. A complex network of terracotta pipes, carefully tapered to create pressure and prevent clogging, provided running water and drainage, channeling waste away from the living quarters. Light wells, open shafts that ran from the roof down through multiple levels, bathed the deep interior rooms in natural sunlight and provided ventilation, a revolutionary concept in early urban planning. At the heart of the palace was the vast central court, a paved plaza that served as the primary gathering space for ceremonies, markets, and civic life, anchoring the entire sprawling structure. Flanking this court were long, narrow storerooms or magazines where massive ceramic jars called pithoi, some taller than a person, held the kingdom's vital reserves of olive oil, grain, and wine. The discovery of the throne room sent a thrill through the archaeological world, revealing an intact gypsum throne, flanked by benches and decorated with frescoes of griffins, suggesting this was a space for ritual and administration. How did the Minoans design a space that so seamlessly blended the practical needs of a capital city with the symbolic power that would inspire epic myths? The answer lies in a world where daily life and spiritual belief were intertwined, where a staircase was not just a staircase but a path, and a corridor was a journey. This profound fusion of the earthly and the legendary finds its ultimate expression in a different kind of construction, where an entire mountain was not built upon, but was instead carved into the likeness of a god. 4 colossal stone faces stare out from the cliff, their impassive gaze a permanent challenge to the desert. These are the 65-foot-high statues of Ramses II at Abu Simbel, carved directly into the living rock of a Nubian mountainside in the 13th century before the Common Era. The entire complex is a monument to the pharaoh's divine authority, a temple designed to project his power for all eternity. To create it, artisans did not build up but carved down, beginning at the top of the cliff face and sculpting the entire facade, including the 4 seated giants from the top downward. This subtractive method required an incredible foresight, as a single miscalculation with a copper chisel and stone hammer could have ruined an entire figure. Inside, the precision continues. The temple axis was engineered with an astronomical miracle in mind. As Egyptologist Zahi Hawass has emphasized, the original builders aligned the entire structure so that twice a year, on approximately October 22nd and February 22nd, the rising sun would penetrate over 200 feet into the mountain's heart. Its rays would slice through the great hypostyle hall with its towering pillar statues of the king and illuminate the innermost sanctuary where the statues of the gods Amun, Ra-Horakhti, and a deified Ramses himself sat in darkness for the rest of the year. The 4th statue of the god Ptah was deliberately left in perpetual shadow as he was a deity of the underworld. This solar alignment was not just a spectacle, It was a form of state propaganda, fusing the pharaoh's identity with the cosmos itself. The labor behind this feat was immense, requiring thousands of workers to painstakingly chip away the mountain over decades. Modern technology has given us a new appreciation for their work. Recent laser scans of the site have revealed a network of microscopic cracks and subtle shifts in the stone, a hidden map of the immense geological pressures the structure has endured for over 3,000 years. This very fragility led to one of the greatest rescue operations in archaeological history. In the 1960s, the entire temple complex was threatened by the rising waters of Lake Nasser, created by the new Aswan High Dam. In an unprecedented international effort, the two temples of Abu Simbel were meticulously sawn into over 1,000 massive blocks, each weighing up to 30 tons, and reassembled on higher ground, a modern engineering marvel that saved an ancient one. This act of preservation forces us to ask, why did Ramses invest so profoundly in this remote, colossal display of self? The answer lies in the pharaoh's obsession with legacy, a desire to stamp his name and face so indelibly onto the world that even time would struggle to erase it. This drive to encode a ruler's power and knowledge into the very bones of the earth finds a parallel in structures that were not carved into mountains, but built to decipher the movements of the stars themselves. A hilltop in Turkey holds a secret that unravels our entire story of human progress. Göbekli Tepe, a sanctuary carved from the bedrock around 9,600 BCE, predates Stonehenge by a staggering 6,000 years and the Great Pyramid by more than 7,000. This is not a structure from a fledgling civilization. It is a complex of rings made from massive T-shaped limestone pillars, each one intricately carved with images of foxes, cranes, boars, and scorpions. According to archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, this was a temple before cities were even conceived, built by communities of hunter-gatherers. That single fact challenges the foundational belief that agriculture and settled life were necessary prerequisites for monumental architecture. The engineering here is a different kind of mystery. The pillars, weighing up to 16 tons, were quarried from local bedrock using stone tools. They were then transported several hundred meters and erected into sockets carved directly into the bedrock floor. The method likely involved hundreds of people working in concert, using ropes made from plant fibers and wooden levers to inch each pillar into its permanent, upright position. Experiments have shown that with coordinated effort, such a feat was possible, but it demands a level of social organization we never attributed to nomadic peoples. Even more intriguing is that this entire site was not left to decay. It was intentionally buried around 8,000 BCE, filled in with earth and stone in what appears to be a deliberate act of preservation, sealing it away for millennia. The carvings themselves are not random. They are a lexicon of a forgotten belief system, with each animal holding a potential symbolic meaning that archaeologists are still deciphering. Some of the central pillars in the enclosures are aligned with celestial bodies, suggesting an early, sophisticated understanding of the stars. What powerful spiritual or social force could have compelled these early people to unite for such a colossal, communal project long before the invention of writing or the wheel? The answer seems to lie in a shared vision that transcended daily survival, a collective will to create a permanent center for their world. This profound rewriting of history, where ceremony predates cities, forces us to look at other ancient structures that were not imposed upon the landscape, but designed to become one with it. Perched high on sheer canyon walls, the cliff dwellings of Mesa Verde seem to defy gravity itself. Around 1200 CE, the ancestral Pueblones constructed entire villages within these natural sandstone alcoves, creating a sanctuary that was both a home and a fortress. This was not an attempt to conquer the landscape, but to become a part of it, As historian Stephen Lexon notes, this represents an adaptive architecture that deeply respects the landscape. The construction methods reveal a profound understanding of their environment. Builders shaped sandstone blocks using harder rocks as tools, carefully stacking them with a mortar made from mud, ash, and water to form multi-story structures that hugged the curving cliff walls. They engineered retaining walls to stabilize the sloping alcove floors, creating level spaces for daily life. At the spiritual heart of these communities were the kivas, circular, partly subterranean rooms used for ceremonies and political gatherings, accessed by a ladder through a hole in the roof. The Cliff Palace, the largest such dwelling, is a stunning example of this complex planning, comprising over 150 rooms and 23 kivas, all integrated into a single, sprawling community. Survival in this arid, precarious environment demanded ingenious solutions. The builders crafted sophisticated water collection systems, channeling precious rainfall from the mesa tops through carefully positioned grooves in the rock, directing it into cisterns for storage. Access to these aerial villages was a carefully managed affair. The inhabitants carved a series of hand and toe holds into the cliff face, creating narrow climbing routes that could be easily defended or dismantled if danger approached. Many of these original holds have now eroded away, leaving modern visitors to wonder at the agility and courage required for daily life. So how did an entire civilization not just survive, but truly thrive in such a vertical world? The answer lies in a philosophy of perfect synergy with nature, using the cliff's own mass for insulation against summer heat and winter cold, and positioning their homes to capture the sun's warmth. This deep, intuitive harmony with the earth, where architecture and environment are one, finds a powerful echo in the next chapter of our story, where sacred geometry was used to design spaces that resonate with the human spirit. Light pours through walls of colored glass, transforming stone into a vision of celestial fire. Chartres Cathedral, rising from the French plains in the 12th century, is more than a church. It is a sermon written in geometry and light. The labyrinth carved into its stone floor is not a maze but a sacred path, a 39-foot wide circle that pilgrims would walk on their knees as a symbolic journey to Jerusalem. This intricate design, like the cathedral itself, is built upon the golden ratio, a divine proportion of 1 to 1.618, believed to reflect the very harmony of God's creation. As art historian Otto von Simpson observed, its proportions reflect a universe ordered by God, a mathematical perfection made tangible. This spiritual ambition demanded revolutionary engineering. To raise walls of such incredible height and fill them with vast windows, the builders employed flying buttresses, stone arches that leap from the outside like graceful fingers, bracing the structure and redirecting the immense weight of the vaulted ceiling outward and down into the ground. This skeletal support system allowed the stone skeleton to become a cage for light, with the walls themselves becoming brilliant canvases for stained glass. The sheer volume of glass was staggering, with over 170 windows created from thousands of individual pieces of glass, each hand blown and painted, then fused together with strips of lead. The West Rose window alone is a masterpiece of cosmic symbolism, a 13-meter wide wheel of divine light depicting the Last Judgment, with Christ at its center surrounded by apostles, elders, and angels. The biblical stories told in these windows served as a luminous Bible for a largely non-literate populace, illuminating scenes from the lives of saints and the teachings of Christ. The cathedral's durability was tested repeatedly. It survived a devastating fire in 1194 that destroyed much of the town, largely because its crypt, housing the sacred relic of the Virgin Mary's tunic, remained intact. This relic made charters a major pilgrimage destination, fueling the resources and devotion needed for its construction. The stone for its soaring vaults was quarried from local sources, cut with precision by masons who encoded their own secret marks into the blocks. How did these medieval builders, guided by faith and simple tools, encode such profound mathematical and spiritual meaning into every stone and pane of glass? They worked from a shared belief that their creation was a mirror of heaven, a bridge between the earthly and the divine. This same impulse to plan entire spaces with sacred precision would soon be applied on a much larger scale to the layout of entire cities. The Avenue of the Dead cuts a straight line through the heart of a silent metropolis. At its peak around 400 CE, the city of Teotihuacan was one of the largest in the entire world, a meticulously planned urban grid covering 20 square kilometers and home to over 100,000 people. Its monumental pyramids, the sun and the moon, rose like man-made mountains, yet the identity of the civilization that built this marvel remains one of history's most profound enigmas. As archaeologist George Cowgill observed, the sheer scale of its urban planning reveals a powerful, centralized authority and a surprisingly advanced knowledge of engineering and social organization. The city's layout was a deliberate act of cosmic ordering, with the Pyramid of the Sun meticulously aligned so that its western facade directly faced the setting sun on the days it passed directly overhead. This was a city built not just for living but to mirror the heavens. The signature architectural style seen everywhere is the talud table row, a distinctive pattern where a sloped panel, the talud, supports a vertical, rectangular panel, the table row. This created a rhythmic, powerful aesthetic that gave the city its unique visual identity. The construction itself was a logistical masterpiece. Builders quarried vast amounts of local volcanic rock, shaping it into blocks and bonding them with a strong lime-based mortar. They engineered an extensive network of drainage channels and carefully plastered floors to manage the seasonal rains, ensuring the city remained functional and clean. At the southern end of the avenue lies the Ciudadela, a vast sunken courtyard complex that housed the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, its facades adorned with dramatic, alternating heads of the feathered serpent god and a being that resembles a jaguar. Inside the residential compounds, brilliantly colored murals depicted gods, goddesses, and mythical scenes, offering glimpses into a rich spiritual life. The mysteries only deepen beneath the surface. Recent lidar scans and archaeological excavations have revealed a hidden world under the pyramids, a series of tunnels and chambers filled with ceremonial offerings, from greenstone figurines to pyrite mirrors. These secret passages suggest the entire city was built atop a sacred, subterranean landscape. So why was this magnificent, thriving city completely abandoned by the 8th century? The answer is as elusive as its founders. There is no evidence of a violent invasion. Instead, theories point to a combination of internal social unrest, perhaps a revolt against the ruling class, and prolonged environmental strain from overpopulation that may have exhausted local resources. This great disappearance forces us to wonder how such a sophisticated society could simply vanish, leaving behind only its stone bones and a legacy of questions. This enigma of a silent city connects to a different kind of ancient mystery, one where the structures themselves seem designed to send messages across vast and impossible distances. From the sky, the Peruvian desert reveals a secret art gallery carved into the earth itself. The Nazca lines are a sprawling collection of hundreds of geoglyphs, massive designs etched into the arid plains between 500 years before the Common Era and 500 years after. These are not small sketches, but enormous figures spanning hundreds of feet across, depicting a hummingbird, a spider, a monkey with a coiled tail, and geometric shapes so vast their full form is only comprehensible from high above. This is their central, enduring mystery. Why would a people create art they could never see? Anthropologist Johann Reinhard proposed a compelling answer, suggesting these were not mere drawings but sacred ritual pathways, deeply connected to pleas for water and fertility in one of the driest places on Earth. The engineering behind them is deceptively simple, yet its longevity is a marvel. The desert floor here is covered in a layer of dark, oxidized stones. The Nazca people created their designs by meticulously removing these top stones to expose the lighter, sandy soil beneath. This color contrast created the lines, which have been preserved for centuries by the region's unique climate, with minimal rain and wind that would have otherwise erased them. The precision involved is staggering. Researchers believe the builders used a system of stakes and ropes to map out the enormous figures from the ground. They could have plotted a central axis and then scaled up the designs using a consistent unit of measurement, creating perfect curves and straight lines across the vast landscape solely through mathematical proportion and skilled surveying. The famous hummingbird with its long, slender beak and the intricate spider with one leg elongated in a precise line are testaments to this method. Maintaining these lines over generations would have required continuous care, a communal effort to clear new debris and preserve the sacred forms. Even today, new lines and figures are still being discovered, with drones revealing previously unseen geoglyphs hidden in the terrain. How did they achieve such flawless scale and proportion without ever taking flight? The answer lies in a profound understanding of their own landscape, an ability to hold immense geometric patterns in their minds and translate them onto the desert canvas. This enigma of perception, of creating for an unseen viewer, leads us to contemplate the ultimate purpose behind our final ancient megastructure. Long before the pyramids cast their shadows over Egypt, the above Gantaja temples rose on the island of Gozo, their massive stone blocks cradling a silence over 5,600 years old. These are among the very oldest free-standing structures on Earth, a complex of two temples built by a Neolithic society that had not yet discovered metal. The scale is immediately humbling. The outer walls are constructed from colossal limestone blocks, some weighing 50 tons, a weight comparable to a fully loaded semi-truck. These stones were fitted together using what is known as cyclopean masonry, a technique where enormous, irregularly shaped rocks are carefully selected and stacked without any mortar at all. The stability of the walls comes entirely from their sheer mass and the brilliant, interlocking placement of each piece. As archaeologist Colin Renfrew has observed, the sheer longevity of these temples speaks to the work of a stable, highly skilled and organized community, one capable of planning and executing a project that would outlast countless generations. The architectural design is equally sophisticated. The temples are shaped in a distinctive cloverleaf pattern of semicircular chambers, or apses, connected by a central corridor. Perhaps most impressively, the builders used a corbelling technique to create roofs, stacking successive courses of stone slightly inward until they met at the top, forming a rudimentary but effective dome. This was not merely a feat of brute strength. It was an application of advanced Neolithic engineering. The temples are also precisely aligned with celestial events. Certain doorways and passages are oriented to capture the rising sun on the solstices, transforming the stone spaces into a monumental calendar that marked the passing seasons for an agricultural society. Inside, the walls are adorned with carved spirals and delicate patterns, with some researchers interpreting these as potent symbols connected to fertility and the cycles of life. The local name above Gantaja itself means giant's tower, and folklore long held that these temples were built by a race of giants, a mythological explanation for a construction that seemed impossible for ordinary people. What powerful cultural impulse, what shared belief or social need could have inspired such a breathtakingly early venture into monumental architecture? The answer seems to lie in a deep, communal desire to create a permanent center for ritual and identity, to anchor their world in stone long before the concept of a city even existed. The true measure of these ancient marvels is found in the quiet frustration of modern engineers. We possess cranes that can lift 800 tons, computers that can model stress to the millimeter, and materials they never dreamed of, and yet we are consistently humbled. We cannot replicate the self-healing concrete of the Romans, or move a 1,000-ton monolith like the stone of the pregnant woman, or explain how a single man built the coral castle with little more than old car parts. These are not just historical footnotes, they are glaring gaps in our understanding of what is possible. As engineer James Ocon has noted, we are still students, learning from their sustainable methods and their profound durability. The central difference lies in the very philosophy of construction. Ancient projects were powered by immense, coordinated human labor, a communal will that could span generations. Today, we substitute that with powerful machinery and fossil fuels. Their knowledge was empirical, built through generations of patient trial and error, observing how stone behaves and how a structure settles over decades. Our approach is rooted in scientific theory and computer modeling, which, while powerful, can sometimes miss the intuitive, tactile wisdom they possessed. A stunning example of this is when modern engineers use three-dimensional modeling to analyze a structure like the pyramids. The models reveal stress distributions and load paths that the builders seem to understand instinctively, achieving a perfect balance that has withstood millennia of earthquakes. This points to a deep, accumulated knowledge, a school of engineering passed down from master to apprentice, where the feel of the stone was as important as the blueprint. Furthermore, the motivations were worlds apart. Our modern constructions are often driven by profit and tight schedules, while these ancient megastructures were fueled by something far more powerful, a cultural or spiritual imperative, a devotion to a god or a king that justified a century of back-breaking labor. This combination of patient observation, profound cultural motivation, and a deep synergy with natural materials created a legacy of resilience that our own concrete and steel often lack. The ultimate question then becomes, what timeless principles can we adopt from their wisdom? Is it a greater respect for local materials, a willingness to plan for centuries rather than decades, or a rediscovery of that patient, empirical learning? This comparison forces us to look beyond the stones themselves and toward the human spirit that moved them, preparing us for a final synthesis of these timeless lessons. These stones whisper a timeless truth about human potential. Our journey from the pyramids to the Nazca lines reveals a legacy not of primitive effort, but of profound insight, where engineering, astronomy, and art were woven into a single, magnificent tapestry. These builders worked with a deep understanding of their world, aligning temples with stars and moving mountains with nothing but coordinated will. They teach us that the drive to create, to leave a mark that echoes through millennia, is a fundamental part of our shared story. This incredible ingenuity, born from collaboration across generations, forces a certain humility upon our modern science. For all our cranes and computers, we are still piecing together the quiet wisdom they held in their hands. This is why preservation is so vital. These sites are not just piles of rock, they are libraries of human knowledge, and their protection is a duty we owe to the future. They are a call to remain curious, to look at the world with wonder, and to seek out these marvels for yourself if ever you have the chance. We would love to hear which of these ancient megastructures captured your imagination the most. Let us know in the comments below and subscribe to join us on our next deep dive into history's greatest puzzles. Remember, the past holds invaluable keys to our future, and these silent, stoic stones still have countless stories